He is so dumb. The demented president is dumb. Who'd have thought? Record cold wave expected to hit 40 states. Rarely seen anything like it before. Could the environmental insurrectionists please explain whatever happens to global warming? Volatile and extreme weather is literal proof of climate change and global warming. But hey, you wouldn't expect the most scientifically illiterate administration of recent time to actually try and comprehend what global warming actually is. Jack Smith. I do not understand why you would mass pardon people who assaulted police officers. I don't get it, and I never will. While the Trump regime does love to condone political violence and the concept of an insurrection and not actually accepting the results of an election, I mean, as long as they're the ones doing it. If there's anything like this coming from any other side, then it's suddenly unacceptable. Colbert on the so-called Board of Peace. Ah yes, the Board of Peace, which consists of the United States and a bunch of dictatorial, fascist and aggressionist states. Really peaceful. Paying $1 billion to obey Donald Trump seems a little steep. I mean, after all, CBS got to do it for just $16 million. Well, to be fair, it is probably just another way to mask a bribe. You know, that one thing President Poopy Diaper just loves so much? Getting bribes from people. Because the only way he's going to do anything that benefits anyone else is if he gets paid for it. Or gets some sort of benefit from it. That's what happens when you elect a narcissist. Jack Smith now under oath giving his opening statement, noting that Donald Trump willfully broke the law. 2 separate grand juries supported these findings, and we developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he engaged in criminal activity. Wow, the over 30-time convicted felon is in fact a criminal, and he does criminal and shady shit. I would be very surprised if he was actually, held accountable or sentenced for his many criminal actions. Because for some reason accountability just doesn't exist at the top. Wow. I can't wait for this to be completely ignored and for nobody to face consequences. Well, not nobody. Trump's gonna send his goons to go and harass everyone against him in this case. Oh yeah, of course he'd do witness intimidation and tampering. I mean, he's done dirty dealings with the mob after all. One thing is though, he cannot erase the records of this hearing. School being cancelled because the president sent armed thugs to harass and imprison the populace for voting against him should be the biggest domestic scandal in American history. But it shouldn't even be a scandal. It should be grounds for immediate impeachment, conviction, and imprisonment. Problem is though, the majority in Congress is terrified that this senile old narcissist will have them voted out of office and they will lose all of their bribe money. They're not terrified, they're complicit and cheering it on. Well, you've either got the horrible people that are cheering it on, or the politicians that are too addicted to the power that they have that they're not actually going to do anything to benefit the people that voted for them. Right, I feel like I think to myself, do the Republicans know that they're still in power if Trump gets impeached? I just don't understand why they're standing up for this fucking guy. Well, probably because they're addicted to the cult-like following that he's got. They'd rather stay in power under fascism than risk losing their power and giving it to the Dems. They can get rid of him. The only answer is that they're complicit and they want it to happen. Because 99% of politicians care more about staying in power than serving the people. Because somehow that's politics now. I think the hardest part of the political climate right now is realizing how many people around me are actually evil. Not stupid, not misinformed, just blatantly enjoying and relishing in the suffering of other human beings. It's hard to keep compartmentalizing this shit with my family. Well, I can't even compartmentalize it anymore. My grandparents are fascist, some of my aunts and uncles are fascists. Nearly 100 years ago, they would have supported Hitler. Who knows? Maybe even today, they actually think Hitler had good ideas and the US shouldn't have stood against them. It breaks my heart because I have so many good memories with them, but I know they aren't safe people to have relationships with anymore, and I keep my communications with them to a minimum. I finally had a decent relationship with my sister to where we cared enough to check in on each other after a 6-year period of not talking. After a nice 6-year stint of repairing it to that point, she sent me a Charlie Kirk memorial. After me not really caring, she spewed some "they're killing our race" nonsense, and wished for my children to have a funeral. That's another thing from these people. They really just seem to have a pure disregard for human life. Suffice to say, we don't talk anymore. Hey chat, if you guys want to see more of this gay guy reading stuff and want to support the channel, you should totally like, subscribe and share. And also press that weird hype button. It does something apparently. Anyways, thanks for watching and back to the video. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger just issued an executive order shutting down State Police cooperation with Trump's ICE immediately after taking office. Well, that's how it should be. I don't think any responsible political leader should be having their police, you know, the ones that are meant to protect and serve and all that, to work with an agency actively gunning down civilians, and then their excuse is to lie or call them domestic terrorists. This is the moment that President Poopy Diaper arrived in Davos, Switzerland, with absolutely no one there to receive him. Delicious. Tastes like humiliation. Well, I don't think he'd be too happy that he wasn't suddenly treated as the most important person in the world. And I'm sure he had some very definitely coherent things to say at the summit. I would like to quickly address the police officers from January 6th, and I can tell you that the fault does not lie with dear leader President Donald Trump. It lies with the US Capitol leadership team. I can't believe it. The US Capitol leadership team didn't want a bunch of thugs to break into Congress and lynch everyone inside. I can't believe them. That's all their fault. Go fuck yourself. But I think that is the appropriate way to respond to the average MAGA piece of bullshit. Sean Hannity. Homicide, rape, sexual assault of minors. Justin Jones. Are you going through Trump's charges? Absolutely brutal. Hannity walked right into it. Nazis always try to swarm and outnumber us because this is what they look like one-on-one. Nazis are, to the last man, fucking cowards. Their obsession with strong men stems from their crippling fear of inadequacy. Cut one off from the herd and they shit themselves. Every time. And I guarantee you the second that this person was taken out of that situation, they probably went back to calling the left cowards, whatever, threatening people, because they're only strong and tough behind a keyboard or with a battalion of a federally sanctioned paramilitary organization that abducts people. They live in constant fear of random boogeymen they themselves have made up in their minds. Yeah, so basically QAnon? Sounds exhausting, to be honest. They'll never get their white nationalist utopia, I think that's more of a dystopia, because they'll just keep changing the boogeyman. They'll never live in peace, because they'll always have something to be afraid about. Well, that's the whole thing with the right, is the only way that they actually work or keep in power is to always have some sort of imaginary enemy to fight. If it's not one thing, it's the other thing, and if it's not that, it's some random thing that they'll make up next week. This is so true. It's kinda sad to see people dedicate their entire lives to some made-up delusion, and even sadder to see that delusion be the reason why they hurt and kill people actually trying to make the US a better place to live. Never in the history of ever have the masked men demanding to see your papers been the good guys. And guess what? They aren't now either. MAGA when the Dems are in the White House. From my cold dead hands, don't tread on me. etc, etc. But MAGA, when the GOP are in the White House, comply or die. Please tread on me, orange sir. See guys, the GOP and the right are the true anti-fascists. Unless they're in power, then they're just the fascists. Remember when the QAnon nuts were in a tizzy about having vaccine papers in the middle of a global pandemic? Well, yeah, you can't impose rules that actively save people's lives during a world-changing pandemic and stopping millions of preventable deaths because of it. You can only impose rules that are fascist and cruel in order to hurt and kill people. And they're not really just rules, it's just fascist doctrine. But it doesn't matter, you can't do changes, only we can. And if you disagree with it, you're somehow a domestic terrorist. They bitched about how they couldn't breathe in a mask and how they won't comply with vaccine requirements, to now, wearing a mask is good now, actually, and please comply. I don't think they say please comply, they point a gun in your face and scream at you and pull you out of your vehicle and throw you in a van, and then do whatever the hell they want with you because they don't give people due process and they don't actually register the people they kidnap in any sort of prison or general database. At least, any database that could actually have accountability held to it.